Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Joins, Mayor of Winston-Salem. It's my pleasure to call to order this September 15th meeting of the Winston-Salem City Council and ask the city clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Joyner.
Present.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Andre Bowen.
Here.
Councilmember Scipio.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams. Here. Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Councilmember Hall.
Present.
And Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Thank you very much. Would you please join the City Council with me in a moment of silence? Thank you. Would you please join the City Council with me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Our Sergeant at Arms tonight is Lieutenant Victoria Arnott, and our Fire Marshal is Peter Geik. Glad to have, there he is over the corner. I'd like to turn the meeting now over to the City Manager for his update.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of different announcements tonight, but I'm going to start with a couple of quick presentations. This past fiscal year was a very successful year for our local tourism industry, including a record-setting year for the Benton Convention Center. I want to recognize first Stephanie Pace Brown, who's president of Visit Winston-Salem, and then Grant Minix, who's our director of operations for the Benton, who are both going to provide you some reports on this past year's performance and the outlook for the upcoming year. So,
Thank you very
Stephanie.
much, Mr. City Manager. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. I was here just about a year ago to share with you our new brand, which is Winston plus Salem. It's twice as nice. Come on in. So I'm happy to have a few minutes tonight to update you on the progress that we've made in the past year or so to attract visitors to Winston-Salem, to expand the customer base for our local businesses, to create jobs, and to generate tax revenue. Just a few weeks ago, the state of North Carolina released their annual report on the economic impact of travel and tourism in North Carolina. The study reported that visitors to Forsyth County spent $1.1 billion in 2024, and that's $1.1 billion with a B dollars, and it generated $75 million in state and local taxes. I think people are often really surprised to learn that more than 7 million people visit Forsyth County every year, and we rank 9th out of 100 counties in North Carolina for visitor spending. We've made so much progress in the last couple of years. In our fiscal year that ended June 30th, hotel revenue in Forsyth County increased 10%. To total more than $140 million. And we know that typically for every $1 that's spent on lodging by visitors, another $4 is spent on restaurants, retail, recreation, entertainment, and transportation. That's money in local cash registers. Visit Winston-Salem works to attract both leisure visitors and group visitors who come for meetings, conventions, and sporting events. On the group side, the sales team's bookings were up 13% in our last fiscal year, totaling almost 70,000 room nights and generating $84 million in economic impact. The team generated 346 leads for future business and booked 177 groups. On the sports side, our team worked with local venues to book 41 youth and collegiate sporting events across a wide variety of sports that included basketball, tennis, track, cycling, soccer, lacrosse, dance, field hockey, hockey, golf, gymnastics, motorsports, volleyball, running, dance, and dog competitions. We worked to support the Clash that generated so much local enthusiasm, as well as national broadcast coverage. On the leisure side, we greatly expanded the quality and reach of our marketing program. I'm going to share a handful of key stats with you, but every one of these stats represents a bunch of hard work, a lot of strategy, and relationship building. Our paid advertising campaign reached 66 million impressions. Our social media reached 20 million impressions across Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We generated more than 1 billion media impressions in national publications such as Southern Living. And our website traffic has increased from about 200,000 web sessions 2 years ago to over 2 million last year. Our marketing puts Winston-Salem on the map. It builds awareness for Winston-Salem as a place to visit, and it shapes the image of our community. The brand is more vibrant, youthful, and inclusive, representing both the rich history and culture of Winston-Salem and Forsyth County and embracing the contemporary vibrancy that this city has achieved. Of course, our team doesn't work in a vacuum. I'd like to say that tourism is a team sport, and it's the result of a lot of hard work of hundreds of people across our community. Visit Winston-Salem launched a partner engagement program about 2 years ago. Just last fiscal year, we hosted 6 events, including 2 socials. We did educational programs on how to use AI and media relations efforts. We did a very popular spring reveal where attractions came together and reported what was new for the beginning of the season. And we'll host our very first annual meeting next week, which I hope you can all attend. We work hand in hand with partners across the county, and we're fortunate and grateful for the amazing team that manages and sells the Benton Convention Center. And I'm here tonight with our good friend, Grant Minix.
Mr. Minix.
I have to have my glasses, sorry. Good evening, Mayor Joins, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of the City Council. I'm Grant Minix. I'm the Director of Operations at the Benton Convention Center. Today is an important day in the 57-year history of the MC Benton Convention Center. Today, we're going to celebrate the past year's revenue accomplishments, but we first need to reflect on where we were. In 2012, you commissioned Crossroads Consulting Services to do an economic analysis of the convention center. In February 2013, you approved the report and voted to invest $20 million into the convention center. The work started early 2016, was completed in the summer of 2017. The renovation made the center more attractive to convention attendees, more flexible for meeting planners. In the fiscal year 2012-2013, the center's year-end revenue was $2.6 million. After the completion of the renovation, the center had its best year ever, coming in at $5 million, and that was for the calendar year 2019. In 2020, the year of COVID, the Benton total yearly revenue was $305,000.
Remember?
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
We only hosted 33 events. The building was occupied 53 days, and we only had 6,700 guests.
Yeah.
In 2021, the yearly revenue hit $3 million, which is still $2 million shy of where we were in 2019. So let's fast forward and get to 2023. In 2023, the revenue came in at $6.6 million. We hosted 252 events. The building was occupied 290 days and was hosted up to 138,616 guests. Wow, we had done it. We had had the best year of the Benton's history. Now, let's get to 2024, 2025. The yearly revenue came in at $8 million.
Y'all better clap.
This was 21% growth year over year, 39% growth to the prior year. We hosted 240 events. The building was occupied 295 days, or 80% of the year, and we hosted 195,486 guests.
That's right.
Of the 8 million, 3.6 million of that was food sales, 1.8 million of that was audiovisual. It takes a lot of work to get to this milestone. I want to thank you for your support, the Benton, and having the vision and the belief and the economic analysis to move forward with the renovation in 2016. I also want to thank all the team members at the Benton. Every day they host our citizens and our out-of-town guests. Again, thank you for allowing me time this evening to celebrate the accomplishments of the fiscal year 24-25, and I do believe we have the best 150,000 square meeting facility in the state.
Very good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks to both of them. That's a part of the great story that we're producing here in Winston, and more to come. A couple of items on city business I want to make sure you're aware of. The Historic Resources Commission is seeking applicants for historic markers for buildings or sites that are 50 years or older and are of historic significance in Winston-Salem and unincorporated Forsyth County. More information about this process can be found on our website or by emailing preservation@cityofwinston-salem.org. The city's SOAR program is now accepting applications for a new class. The 6-month program is a reentry program for justice-involved individuals. More information can be found on our city website under Career tab and look for SOAR, S-O-A-R. It's a great program. The Planning and Development Services Public Arts Commission is seeking requests for qualifications for a mural project at the city-owned 6 Cherry Trade parking deck. Again, you can find more information on our website under /public art. And then the newspapers reported that it was at committee as well. The Winston-Salem Police Department will soon begin adoption of a new black and white vehicle marking for each of the vehicles. The new design is professional, highly visible, cost-effective, and easily identifiable by the community as a police vehicle. One of the greatest advantages, they believe, of this new black and white color scheme is what our police department of professionals call the omnipresence factor. Just that the presence alone of these vehicles in this color scheme can serve as a powerful crime deterrent while also giving residents a stronger sense of safety. A couple of other things coming up. The Human Relations Department will host a coffee with the city at the Compare Food Store on Martin Luther King Drive on Wednesday, September 24th from 8 to noon. Several city departments as well as other community-based organizations will be attending to inform and serve our residents in this general area. And then Historic Bethabara Park will hold its annual and very popular Apple Festival on September 27th from 10 to 4. I had 2 new employees today that were that were going to be a part of that festival. A lot of good crowds that are there. And then in line with some of the first reports that we had earlier this year, the International Association of Fairs and Expositions partnered with Johnson Consulting to conduct an economic impact study of fairs and fairgrounds across the country. The study quantified the impact of fairs as well as year-round operations of fairgrounds. And this is in a gross amount from all across the country, and then we're going to get some better information on our particular fair a little later. But the economic impact of fairs totals $30 billion annually, and fairgrounds provide $52 million in annual economic impacts. 29% of the population across the country attends a fair each year, which is more than the attendance at MLB and NFL games combined. 65% of the population attends an event at a fairgrounds each year, which is more than the combined attendance for all major league sports. So they show that the fairgrounds are clearly a community asset and economic driver. And again, as I said, we're going to have some specific impact study of our Carolina Classic Fair and the fairgrounds that'll be coming to you soon. But that's all just as a foreshadowing to the Carolina Classic Fair is coming soon, October 3rd through the 12th. The public is encouraged to visit the website at carolinaclassicfair.com to get details on the traffic pattern changes due to the new project and the altercation of Deacon Boulevard, as well as to get information on the attractions and new policies that will be implemented this year to make the fairgrounds continue to be a family-friendly event that we can all enjoy. So with that, I'll stand ready to answer any additional questions.
Questions, Mr. Pate? Thank you, Mr. Pate. We do have a honorarium tonight. I ask the city clerk to read that one, please.
Item H1, proclamation declaring Family, Friend, and Neighbor Caregiver Day. Whereas Family, Friend, and Neighbor childcare, which refers to informal childcare arrangements provided by relatives, friends, and neighbors, is the most common form of childcare in Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. And whereas the Child Care Resource Center is a nonprofit that focuses on children ages birth to 5 by providing resources, training, advocacy, and engagement to families, providers, educators, businesses, and communities in 9 counties, including Winston-Salem and Forsyth County, for over 30 years. And whereas FFN offers families culturally aligned, flexible, and cost-effective support and plays a crucial role in the early childhood of approximately 12,000 of our community's children prior to kindergarten. And whereas nationally, Family, Friend, and Neighborhood Child Care Appreciation Week is intentionally celebrated during the second week of September with National Grandparents' Day to recognize the millions of grandparents who support our communities and care for young children. And whereas Winston-Salem and Forsyth County are recognizing family, friend, and neighbor caregivers as an essential workforce behind the workforce for our economy that enables families to engage in employment, which can lead their economic stability. And whereas Winston-Salem and Forsyth County join Child Care Resource Center and families in recognizing family, friend, and neighbor caregivers for their efforts in caring for children of working parents and providing them with safe, nurturing early childhood experiences. Now, therefore, I, J. Allen Joines, Mayor of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim Saturday, September 7th, 2025, as Family, Friend, and Neighbor Caregiver Day.
Thank you. We have Ms. Keturah Jackson, who's the Executive Director of the Child Care Resource Center. If you would join me.
I think everybody wants to come.
Ms. Jackson, we certainly appreciate the work of your organization to highlight the important role that the individuals and family members provide in terms of child care, which is one of the critical things for our workforce here in Winston-Salem. So thank you for your good work there, and I'll be happy to present this proclamation. If you'd like to say a word to the council.
Oh, sure. Well, I think the proclamation said it all, but thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. We really appreciate you recognizing family, friend, and neighbor care. As the proclamation said, it is a most common form of care. A lot of you all are probably family, friend, and neighbor caregivers yourselves, even though you don't think about it that way. In Winston-Salem, we have about 25,000 children, birth to 5, and we have 5,000 child care spaces. So those other children have to be somewhere, and usually it's with a family, friend, or neighbor care. And so we have our FFN facilitator and coordinator. Y'all want to stand up? And even though last week was Family, Friend, and Neighbor Care Week, we're going to celebrate it the whole year. How about that?
Sounds good.
So thank you so much, and we appreciate this recognition and this honor. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Thank you. We're televising this meeting live tonight on TV 13 as well as our city's YouTube page, and it will be replayed tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and again tomorrow Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Copies of our agendas as well as videos of previous meetings are always available online at the city's website, and just click on the Watch Meetings Online option. As you know, our meetings and agenda is comprised of 2 parts, the consent agenda and the general agenda. It's always the practice of the council to take the consent agenda as the first order of business. Items on this agenda have been unanimously approved by a committee of the city council or are being submitted in accordance with established city procedure. There'll be no discussion of the items on the consent agenda unless the council member so requests, in which the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered individually. Items not removed will be enacted with one motion. Council members, are there any items you wish to remove from the consent agenda?
C2 and 3,
C2.
only because of the amount of resources that's going to be provided for these 2 projects.
Okay.
Because they affect every citizen in Winston and Forsyth.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the balance of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Taylor, seconded by Councilmember Hall. All those in favor of the motion, please, and this will be a voice vote, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, and that's unanimous. Now, item C2.
Item C2, resolution directing the application to the Local Government Commission for approval of the city's water and sewer system revenue bonds, Series 2025, requesting Local Government Commission approval of the 2025 bonds, declaring the intent of the city to reimburse itself for capital expenditures from proceeds thereof and certain related matters.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, again, I think it's important, Ms. Latham and Mr. King and those affiliated with the utilities, that our citizens know when we're out here in this platform what these funds are, how much it is, and how do we finance these types of projects.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of City Council. The first item, C2, this is a proposal to receive council's approval to move forward with the initial steps to borrow $70 million in revenue bonds for various water and sewer projects. These projects are in the capital plan already, and this is one way that we finance our water and sewer projects. We also finance quite a few projects with PAYGO, so $30 to $40 million a year just in regular revenues that are coming in through utility fees to cover all of these projects. But periodically, we do have very large projects, and so we supplement that by borrowing funds. So these would be revenue bonds, which pledge the water and sewer revenues. So basically, we'd be applying to the LGC, and they would be reviewing our application to make sure that they agree that we have the resources to repay the debt.
Thank you, Ms. Latham.
Yeah, and Ms. Latham, tell the audience again, how do we repay this debt, this $70 million?
Yes, the $70 million for the water and sewer fund is repaid by user fees for the water and sewer fund. So when everyone is paying their monthly water and sewer or their bi-monthly water and sewer bill, we're using those funds to pay off the debt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion?
Yeah, move for approval of item C2.
Second.
Motion second to approve item C2. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We're going to vote on this one electronically.
We just did.
Yeah.
You just did? Okay. And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Item C3.
Item C3, resolution of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, approving an amendment to an installment purchase contract with the North Carolina Municipal Leasing Corporation to finance certain facilities and capital assets, declaring the city's intent to reimburse itself for capital expenditures from proceeds thereof and related matters. Public hearing date, October 6, 2025.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, thank you again, Ms. Latham. Again, to Councilmember Clark's credit, the other week he made a comment that we just don't vote money and do things haphazardly. Some of us, all of us, consider ourselves pretty good stewards of the community trust. So, Ms. Latham, if you again could explain where this $26 million is coming from and the why as to why we have to do this.
Yes, absolutely. So again, we have a lot of large projects in the solid waste fund. One of those would be the mechanically stabilized earthen berm to provide extra capacity at the landfill, and just a number of other projects that have been planned for some time, such as the gas system expansion and the Phase 3 Cell 6 initial construction. So again, this is going to create a lot of expenditures that are due in a short time period. Again, we do use PAYGO as well, but given the time frame of these projects and how much money would be needed to get these projects done, debt financing is just one of the other ways that we can fund projects such as this, which are needed. In this case, we would be borrowing limited obligation bonds, and so the collateral for those bonds is actually several of our public facilities. However, the financial plan calls for the debt to be repaid from the solid waste fund revenues.
Thank you so much.
A question, Mr. Clark.
Just for everyone's edification, both this one and the previous one have to be approved by the local government commission. That is headed up by the state treasurer. It's an additional check and balance on when we borrow money. We have to show them our financials and prove to them that we are financially responsible and can pay them back. So it's just additional check and balance that's somewhat unique, I think, to the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, that's a good point. We do have that extra layer of oversight, which I think is very helpful in the state.
Very good.
And I know, Mayor Pro Tem, you and I spoke about G6, which will be a public hearing later tonight on the financing for the grounds. And I just wanted to go ahead and point out that $80 million, that is not an obligation of the city for payment. It's not any type of pledge, mortgage obligation. It's not, the city's not endorsing the projects. It's just an IRS code requirement for them to access the tax-exempt debt. You all have to approve that, but that is not considered by the LGC and is not city debt.
Okay. We may ask you to say that again when that item.
Yeah, thank you so much. I move for approval of item C3.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Clark. All those in favor will vote yes. Anyone opposed will vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you all. We'll now go to the general agenda, which is comprised of 7 public hearings on voluntary annexations, rezoning petitions, site plan amendment, the issuance of bonds, as well as economic development assistance. When the public hearings are called, persons in the council chamber will be given an opportunity to speak. If there is opposition to the public hearing item, the proponents and the opponents will each be given 15 minutes for presentation and 3 minutes for rebuttal. If no one wishes to speak, I'll close the public hearing and the city council will consider the item. May we have item G1, please?
Item G1, public hearing and consideration of a resolution for the voluntary annexation of approximately 14.734 acres located east of Maple Chase Lane at the eastern stub of Chanterelle Court, project known as Brookberry Farm, Phase 12. Petition of Brookberry Farm, LLC.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the council chamber who wishes to be heard on this proposed voluntary annexation? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and this is in Councilmember Clark's ward. I'll recognize him.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I move for approval of item G1.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Scipio. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please vote yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you, Councilmember Clark. Item G2, please.
Item G2, public hearing and consideration of a resolution for the voluntary annexation of approximately 13.6 acres located at the confluence of Union Cross Road and Thomasville Road, project known as Union Cross Subdivision, petition of Clay Pigeon Properties, LLC.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the council chamber who wishes to be heard on this proposed voluntary annexation? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed and recognize Councilmember Taylor from Southeast Ward.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, I move for approval of item G2.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Scipio. Any further discussion of this item? Questions? Those in favor, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item G3.
Item G3, public hearing and consideration of zoning petition of the City of Winston-Salem from County MUS to City MUS. Property located at the eastern terminus of Chanterelle Court, north of Brookberry Farm Road, located in the West Ward.
So we just annexed these properties into the city. Now we have to rezone them to city zoning. Is there anyone in the council chamber who wishes to be heard on this proposed rezoning? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed and recognize Councilmember Clark.
I move for approval of item 1, the statement of consistency, and for the approval of this item and 2W3653.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Scipio. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the item, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item G4.
Item G4, public hearing and consideration of zoning petition of the City of Winston-Salem from County RS9 to City RS9. Property is located along the north side of Union Cross Road at its intersection with Thomasville Road, located in the Southeast Ward.
Again, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the council chamber who wishes to be heard on this proposed rezoning? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. I'll recognize Councilmember Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I move for approval of 1, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and 2, W-3654.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hall, what's it? Councilmember Hall. Any further discussion, questions? Not all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item G5, please.
Item G5, public hearing and consideration of site plan amendment of Gem Site Development LLC to modify an approved site plan from a retail building to a restaurant from drive-through service located on the north side of Fairlawn Drive between Fairlawn Court and Silas Creek Parkway, located in the North Ward.
Is there anyone in the council chamber who is opposed to this rezoning? No one's opposed. The petitioner is here. If there's any questions, I'm sure. Unless you just want to say, we'll move on. Mr. Isaacson.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, Mark Isaacson, 804 Green Valley Road in Greensboro, just here on behalf of the contract purchaser. We appreciate the staff's cooperation here. We worked through the process. This is a site plan amendment, not a rezoning, so fairly technical review. But we think everything's lined up and ready to bring some Zaxby's sandwiches to Winston-Salem.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Isaacson. I'll declare the public hearing closed and recognize Mayor Pro Tem Adams for a motion.
Yes, I move for approval of 1, the statement of consistency for the approval of this item, and 2, W3656.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Scipio. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item G6, please.
Item G6, public hearing and consideration of approval of the issuance of bonds by the Public Finance Authority for the benefit of PRG, The Grounds, LLC, and Wake Forest University.
Ms. Latham, let's let you on the record one more time, just indicate what we're doing here, please.
Yes, as mentioned, this is an IRS technicality that requires the council to approve another agency in the city getting access to this tax-exempt debt. So this just allows the grounds to obtain a lower rate on their financing. We have done this for other organizations in the past. We've done this for the Housing Authority as well as Salem College. Again, this does not obligate the city for payment of the bonds. It does not obligate the city in the way of a pledge or a mortgage or an obligation or any type of agreement. These are not bonds of the city, and we're not giving an opinion on the bonds.
Thank you, Ms. Latham. Thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anyone in the audience want to be heard about this proposed financing? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed and would entertain a motion from the Chairman of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for approval of item G6.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Scipio. Any further discussion, questions? I'm sorry, Councilmember Burke, excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. Will this have any bearing at all on the city's credit profile?
Ms. Latham, you want to comment on that, please?
Good afternoon, Ms. Burke. No, it does not have any factor at all on the city's credit rating since it's not considered city debt, and the LGC also would not need to consider it since it's not our city debt, but that's an excellent question. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And just for the record, the city has AAA credit rating from 2 of the national credit rating agencies, and we're very proud of that. Is there a motion?
We've already.
We've got the motion. I beg your pardon.
And we
Excuse me.
voted.
We already voted on it? We did. Okay. Wow. We haven't voted on it.
I can make it again if you.
No, I'm good. We'll vote on it, though. All those in favor, please vote yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Good question, Councilmember Burke. And then item G7, please.
Item G7, public hearing and consideration of economic development assistance for Project Touchdown pursuant of NCGS 158-7.1.
Mr. Millett, would you please give us a quick briefing on this project, although we've talked about it several times here as well?
Certainly, Mayor Joines. Good evening to you, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of council. When we have talked about this project in closed session and at Finance Committee, it was referred to as Project Touchdown. The name of the company is actually Reagent, which is an almost 50-year-old company that's based in the United Kingdom that manufactures laboratory and specialty chemicals for a variety of industries. They've identified a strong potential market in the United States and are looking to locate a facility in the Southeast. In addition to an existing 20,000 square foot building in Winston-Salem, they're considering locations in South Carolina, Virginia, and Georgia. They are seeking financial assistance to assist with the opening of the new facility, which would create 30 new jobs at an average wage of $59,217. Taxable capital investment is expected to total over $5.6 million over 5 years. Staff is recommending performance-based incentives of up to $57,168, which represents 50% of the net new property taxes expected to be generated over the first 5 years. Incentives for this project have been approved by Forsyth County and also being considered by the state of North Carolina. We do have staff from Greater Winston-Salem, Inc. here in support of the project.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Millett? Thank you, Mr. Millett. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in council chamber who would like to be heard? And I recognize Ms. Kiefer, please.
Ellis Kiefer, 525 Vine Street. Good evening, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of council. Greater Winston-Salem, Inc. is excited to present Project Touchdown to you this evening for incentive consideration. We're grateful that this project has identified Winston-Salem as an attractive location for its U.S. expansion. Through the site selection process, the company has considered, as Ken mentioned, several competitive markets. The project has sought opportunities in Winston-Salem specifically for its expansion into the U.S. because of our region's proximity to customers and suppliers, our skilled manufacturing workforce, and the community's overall connectivity. The company also shares our community's commitment to workforce development and plans to partner with Forsyth Tech if Winston-Salem is selected. This project's jobs and investment will not only strengthen our tax base, but also create real opportunities for individuals and families in Winston-Salem while building momentum in our advanced manufacturing sector. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Kiefer. Would anyone else like to be heard on this proposed economic development project? All right, seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed and again recognize our Chairman of the Finance Committee, Mr. Clark.
Thank you. I move for approval of item G7.
Is there a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Adams. Any further discussion? Oh, excuse me, Councilmember Bowen, Andre Bowen, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we first learned the name of this organization, I did some. We have a conversation around the environmental impact. That was just a concern of mine. All the research that I was able to do saw that they had a clean bill of environmental policies that they do. So I was really happy I'm happy to support this. So.
Thank you, Councilmember. Very good. All right, all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you all. We'll now go to our public comment period, which is a time once per month that the City Council and I invite citizens to address us on matters that are germane to city government. When the public comment period is called, each speaker will be given an opportunity for 3 minutes of comment, and the total public comment period is limited to 30 minutes. Comments should pertain to issues that are relevant to city government, and the City Council will likely not respond to items during the meeting, but may address them at a later date or ask staff to follow up. If necessary, speakers are encouraged to be civil and courteous in their language and presentation. Insults, profanity, use of vulgar language or gestures or other inappropriate behaviors are discouraged. Engaging in such conduct may result in a forfeiture of any remaining speaking time. Individuals who continue to engage in such egregious behavior after being told to cease the same may be instructed to leave the meeting. Speakers, of course, may use other avenues to pursue any concerns, including but not limited to personnel matters, litigation, and confidential matters. And I certainly appreciate your cooperation. We do have a number of speakers who have signed up dealing with the issue of homelessness, and we're got several speakers, and we only got 30 minutes, so I might encourage you to maybe group your comments together there, but we'll begin and move as quick as we can. First person is Ruth Burkall, please. If you would, each state your name and address for the record. You know the drill, Ruth.
I do know the drill. Good evening, Mayor Joynes, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of the council. I am Ruth Cole Burkall. I'm the Executive Director of City with Dwellings, and we serve many of our city's unhoused citizens. We're at 502 North Broad Street. I know some of our West End neighbors are here tonight to raise concerns about crime and nuisance issues near our day center at the edge there of West End. And we share the desire for safe, welcoming neighborhoods. Everyone deserves to feel safe wherever they live. But homelessness itself is not the cause of these problems, and people experiencing homelessness are not the enemy. In fact, they are more likely to be victims of crime than perpetrators of crime. What we face is not a people problem, it's a housing problem. City with Dwellings has been part of the West End neighborhood, the edge there, for more than a decade, first through our winter shelter at Augsburg Lutheran Church, then on Spring Street, and now at 6th and Broad. What has changed is visibility. Street homelessness is rising, and the crisis isn't new, but it's harder to ignore now. Every day, our staff and our volunteers help people stabilize, connect to services, and move toward housing. And we're good at it, but the need is outpacing our capacity. We very much appreciate the city's role in administering HUD's Continuum of Care and ESG funds, which support part of our work. But those resources are limited, we know that. If we want real progress, we need stronger local investment on all fronts. What will truly make Winston-Salem safer is investing in solutions that work, housing, supportive services, and prevention so that folks don't fall into homelessness to begin with. Please see us as partners in this work, in building these solutions. The people most affected by this crisis are often the ones who best understand what is needed. We are ready to work with the city, with our neighbors, and other stakeholders to make it happen. Thank you for hearing me tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Burkall.
Yeah.
Emily Harkins.
Good evening. My name is Emily Harkins. I'm from 1661 Light Street. I serve as the senior pastor at The Dwelling, a church community here in Winston that aims to do life with our unhoused neighbors. And I come tonight with an invitation to you, not an argument or not statistics and not even a complaint, though I'm sure you get many of those, just pure invitation. I want to invite you to come and sit with your unhoused neighbors, not in a service to kind of way, but in a neighbors with kind of way. To share a meal, to listen to a story, to walk a block side by side. Because until we sit together, we will keep missing the truth that we are more alike than we are different. When you sit beside someone who carries their life in a worn backpack, you discover the weight of their dreams are not so different than your own. And when you listen to your neighbors talk about their children, you hear what sounds a lot like the love that you have for your own. And when you laugh at a joke while sitting on a front step, you remember that joy doesn't need an address to be real. Too often, conversations about homelessness are filled with fear and blame and distance. But when fear fades, when we learn each other's names. Blame softens when we begin to see faces instead of categories. And distance closes when we dare to share time and space together. Here is what I have learned. Caring for one another is not just responsibility, it is joy. It is the kind of joy that surprises you and sneaks up on you in the middle of a random Tuesday. I have known that joy in the stories and the laughter and the grief that I share with my community, and I believe that our whole city should have the experience of that kind of joy together. Because the truth is, our neighbors are already contributing to this city. They are poets who give us words. They are artists and musicians. They bring us beauty. They are workers who clean up the streets. They are the people that push broken down cars up Broad Street. They are your neighbors. They are the heartbeat of this city just as much as you and I are. But the question is whether or not we'll recognize them as such. So here's my invitation again. Come and spend time with your neighbors. Learn their names. Hear their stories. They are not a problem to solve. They are your people. They are your neighbors. And they deserve that kind of love and affirmation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brooke Devon.
Brooke DeYoung, 3050 South Stratford Road, Winston-Salem. Good to see you, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council again in my stole. I serve as the deacon at the dwelling, and I'm here tonight to express our unwavering support for our partner, City with Dwellings, and the vital work they do every single day. At the heart of what we're facing is not only a housing crisis, it's a crisis of compassion. We are being asked to choose between comfort of those in homes and care for our neighbors who are unhoused, between fear and faith. And I want to be clear. Fear is not the same thing as being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is okay, but doesn't mean our neighbors who we love are a threat. It means we have stepped close to something that is hard to see, the pain of others. In the last 2 years, we have seen a drastic rise in homelessness around the country, and here in Winston-Salem, just the same. And the fastest growing group is actually families with children, not violent criminals. This is the outcome of disinvestment of policy and neglect, mostly at the federal level. We got to get those HUD fundings to do the things we got to do. And in response, the dwelling and City with Dwellings are doing what church and community organizations should do. We are welcoming, walking alongside, and working towards housing and healing. We have been good faith partners in constant conversation with our neighbors, housed and unhoused. We've listened to concerns, and we are actively working to relocate our winter shelter for this season in partnership with the city and the county, not out of shame, but out of care for relationships and requests. No community or part of community gets to opt out of this work. If we push people out, if we displace service providers or shame those in need, we do not solve homelessness. We spread it, we deepen it. As such, I want you to know we do not stand alone. The dwelling is part of Forsyth IAF Sponsoring Committee, a growing collective of over 30 churches and community institutions across this city. Together, we are organizing for the common good and a unified truth. Homelessness is not a criminal issue. It is a moral one. So, what if instead of asking, where should they go, ask, how do we respond faithfully and compassionately as one city? Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Schultz.
Thank you. My name is Ron Schultz. My address is 502 North Broad Street. Why is downtown on the decline, you might ask? If you look at social media, the homeless are at the forefront of the list of causes. It's easy to blame the people who are too busy trying to survive and not having the time or energy to defend themselves from anonymous posters. Sure, homelessness is an issue, but in reality, it is a symptom of a deeper societal disease that seemingly most metropolitan areas suffer. Why don't they just get a job? Stop and think about the barriers. Fortunately, the Dwelling Church runs a shower trailer where 3 days a week you can get cleaned up and find a little dignity. Every Sunday, they provide 2 meals and spiritual fellowship in a no-judgment zone. Then there's the City of Dwelling, 2 separate entities. which gives us a mailing address and helps navigate the process to get vital documents and help get people housed and off the streets. A very daunting process that would be difficult, if even possible, to navigate on your own. Just remember that in today's society, most people are only one or two major financial crises away from finding themselves on the streets, and it is always a surprise when it happens. There are no guidebooks or city maps telling people where to go for the little bits of help that is available. Maybe the growing homeless population hurts downtown business. Maybe. But that is not the real cause for the decline. It's just not simple. There are economic factors, inflation and consumer budgets. High inflation has strained household budgets for lower and middle income consumers, making dining out a less affordable luxury. Decreased consumer spending overall. Consumers are spending less at restaurants, leading to lower foot traffic and sales at many establishments. Economic uncertainty. Broader economic concerns including job market volatility and the impact of trade policies, making consumers more cautious about discretionary spending. Operational pressures like rising labor costs. Labor expenses have increased significantly due to factors like rising minimum wage in a tighter labor market. Volatile food costs. The cost of food ingredients remain volatile due to weather, supply chain issues, and trade policies, increasing operational expenses. Margin pressure. The combination of higher labor and food costs puts significant pressure on profit margins. Staffing and turnover. Many businesses struggle with high employee turnover rates and staffing shortages, which impact service, speed, and efficiency. And of course, a lot of people throw in the new meterless parking into the mix, and that may be a contributing factor in the decline of downtown. After all, the new system is a big jump from feeding quarters into the meter. Thank you so much for your
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Berkeley Von Fetchenson, excuse my mispronunciation.
My name is Berkeley Von Filich, and I live at 5909 Brookberry Farm Road. Good evening, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and council members. I'm also a small business owner with an office in downtown Winston-Salem. I'm here tonight because I care deeply about the city and all who call it home. I've heard rumors circulating, the idea that people experiencing homelessness are being bussed in from somewhere else. I want to be very clear that this is not true. According to the national data, roughly 80 to 85% of people receiving services are from the same community where they lost housing. And that is true here also. They are not strangers. These are our neighbors, people who grew up here, worked here, paid rent here, and now trying to survive here. We are not seeing people brought in. We're seeing more people pushed out of housing, out of safety, and too often out of dignity. This isn't just happening in Winston-Salem, it's everywhere. According to the most recent 2024 federal data, more than 653,000 people were homeless on a single night across the United States, the second highest number ever recorded in the US, only slightly behind the 2023 historic spike. I also want to speak to you from a personal perspective. My business is downtown. My church is downtown. I have also attended Sunday services at the dwelling, which I highly recommend. It's beautiful. I walked the library. I walked to meetings. I have met many of the people supported by the dwelling and City with Dwellings, and I want to say this clearly. I do not feel unsafe. What I do feel is compassion, because discomfort is not the same as danger. Seeing poverty like this up close may be unsettling, may feel unsettling, but that does not make our neighbors dangerous. We can't confuse vulnerability with threat. We need solutions, not scapegoats. City with Dwellings and the dwelling are trying their hardest to provide solutions, and they're doing real work, navigating broken systems, helping people get IDs, apply for housing, access healthcare, and survive while waiting for services that currently take months or even years to obtain. Let me leave you with this. No neighborhood gets to opt out of compassion. No business gets to be exempt from caring. If we love this city, we must love everyone in it, not just the comfortable parts. Let's not meet this crisis with fear. Let's meet it with courage and collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tanner Broughton.
Thank you. I'm Tanner Broughton, 706 South Green Street. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of you for the opportunity to be present and speak in this forum. I would like the City Council to please revisit the location that the Twin City Harm Reduction Group operates. This is the sterile syringe program located in Green Street, United Methodist Church in West Salem. While I openly agree they must unfortunately provide a group of services for a segment of society that has been neglected, I, along with many of my immediate neighbors of the exchange, feel that this operation should be run outside of predominantly residential area. I asked the City Council to please go back and watch the City Public Safety meeting in April of 2017 and the related meetings that were run during that same time. It was proposed to the city and to our neighborhood that that exchange was going to be in that location for a limited amount of time until they found a permanent location. There were a few speakers that were for the exchange staying in that location that is now operated in. Most of those in support then will be similar to those supporting it now. They will be the employees of the exchange, the employees of the church, and residents that reside out of the immediate bullseye of issues. While the exchange group will point to their recent neighborhood sweep this past weekend as they are doing their part, we neighbors still find drug biohazards discarded in our yards, streets, and parks. These biohazards are contaminated with illegal substances that we all know can do great bodily harm. What happens when one small children finds something and is curious? Our pets pick up something in their mouths, or an ill-informed adult picks up something and has an overdose event. The negative effects do not stop at just discarded biohazards. I ask you, council, to please read the many letters I've had residents send you in the last week or so. Please read the stories of harassment and terror that we have all experienced being so close to this organization's operation. Our belief that just adding stricter guardrails on the existing location will not solve the health and safety issues we constantly have to experience. We are not asking for the service to the city or county to be stopped. We are asking for it to be relocated to a sensible location that will bring safety to all parties involved. The exchange in West Salem is very much an anomaly across the state, located in the middle of a neighborhood. Please take a look at the models that some other cities in North Carolina are operating on. Some cities and counties have their exchanges partnered with health clinics and medical locations outside of residential neighborhoods where their patrons are much less likely to openly dispose of biohazards and much less likely to harass innocent bystanders in public.
Thank you. Your time's up. Thank you very much. Terrace Clark.
Hello, everybody. My name is Taurus Clark. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to all y'all today. I'm a food vendor at the Carolina Classic Fair. Have been for over 10 years, over a decade, probably closer to 15. 2024, my application was rejected. Contacted Mayor Pro Temp. She got me a meeting with the city manager and the facilities manager for the fair. We sat down. I was told because they felt like I wasn't honest about my revenue. Okay? With no proof, just an accusation, my application was rejected. Now, I was told we could move past that, but there was no more space for that year. Keep that in mind, no more space. So I applied this year. My application was accepted. Good. I was under the assumption I'd be put back in my original spot that I had been in for over 10 years already. But no, they put me somewhere else. They put me in a spot that wasn't there last year. So the spot that they put me in, if you look at the vendor map for last year, it wasn't even there. So they could have put me there last year if they wanted to. Let's just make that a point. But my point is, all I need is for someone to make a call and have them put me back in my original spot. I was told that the person that they put in my spot that just happened to sell the exact same thing that I sold, the exact same menu that I have, had a very good selling year. I'm pretty sure they did. I spent the last 10 years building that spot for that item. So that's what people was coming there for. Councilwoman Joyner, you know location is key when it comes to food. You know that. Councilman Hall, I met you. We shared an office building together. Congratulated you on your campaign. Councilman Taylor, the name of the fair has changed. Other things need to change too. Some more things need to change. Mr. Mayor, I plead you, put a vendor on the fair planning committee. It doesn't have to be me, but would I volunteer to do it? Yes, I would. But a vendor should be on that committee. I was told by the facilities manager of the fairground that that would be a conflict of interest. Mr. Bowman, I live in your ward. I was told by the facilities manager that would be a conflict of interest. But that would be like me telling y'all can't be on the city council because y'all live in Winston-Salem. It makes no sense. There should be a vendor on that fair planning committee, and if there was, then problems like mine wouldn't occur because there would be someone on the inside that could stop that problem before it revealed itself. But I need somebody to help me get back into my spot, me and my family. We built that spot up for over a decade. I've literally shed blood, sweat, and tears in that spot. I've caught myself on fire in that spot, working with a gas cooker. And we have family moments at that fair when people come back. I've seen kids grow from 2 to 15. And all I'm asking is to be put back in our spot so that we can re-enjoy our customers and have a profitable year. I want to have my Benton Convention Center year. The best year I ever had.
Good.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank y'all.
Dennis Sykes, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Adams. My name is Dennis Sykes. I live at 811 West 5th Street in Winston-Salem. I'm speaking tonight as a representative of the All God's Children ministry team from Knollwood Baptist Church. We are distressed at the idea we're hearing of considering making it illegal to sit down or lie down on sidewalks in Winston-Salem. In other words, a loitering ordinance. A loitering ordinance would treat our unhoused brothers and sisters with fear or distaste instead of compassion. Loitering ordinances have a pretty sordid history in our country. Arresting people simply for being somewhere allows the authorities to decide who has the right to be in the streets for any purpose and who does not have that right. As a group dedicated to social justice, the All God's Children's ministry team sees our right to protest in public spaces being threatened. On a personal note, my home is located in the historic West End Overlay District, directly across Pilot View Street from the Augsburg Community Center. I want to say that City with Dwellings and The Dwelling have been excellent neighbors. My wife and I feel safer now than we did before they moved into this location. Their influx of volunteers has created a friendlier vibe in the area, and we have not been bothered at all by any of their clients. The growing visibility of our unhoused citizens is not a problem, but a symptom of a problem. City with Dwellings is not a problem, it is a part of a solution. Winston-Salem already has laws that address the complaints being made by some of our neighbors. We don't need to criminalize the mere visibility of anyone in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Matthew Mayers. Matthew Mayers. I'm sorry.
She thought you said Missy. I think you two must have the same last name or something.
We have about 5 minutes left, so if we could speak expeditiously.
Okay. My name is Matthew Mayers. I live at 2844 Wesleyan Lane. I'm here with a couple of friends tonight, and since you hear from me a lot, I'm going to let them talk to y'all about our desire to see the city really lean into energy efficiency for city operations.
Good.
Thank you. Greetings, council members. My name is Margaret Miller. I live at 1179 Edgebrook Drive.
Hi, good evening. My name is Annette Hayes, and I am a resident of Winston-Salem, as well as I have a business here. And I wanted to say congratulations on all the things that are happening here in Winston-Salem. And in terms of sustainability, We need that in order to keep going, in order to be competitive to other cities, especially in the Triad and greater North Carolina. There are some things that we can do better for sustainability, as well as taking care of our citizens and our energy. So we want to make sure that we are working collectively with all the organizations that are represented. I know we work on different programs together, and it's important that we work together and not in silos to accomplish the things we need to accomplish. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Do I have anything else?
Yeah, I'll just say briefly, we just want to encourage the council to really pursue energy efficiency of our city facilities in a deliberate and intentional way. You know, many times doing the right thing is costly, right? It costs us personally, or it costs us money to stand up and do the right thing. In this case, you know, climate change is a huge problem, and pursuing the city's commitment to become carbon neutral by 2050, pursuing that by addressing energy efficiency of city facilities is doing the right thing, but it's also at the same time going to save the city money. By common grace, these two goals are aligned, and we can accomplish both at the same time. So just really encourage you to focus on that and provide staff and other analyses and pursue those goals to improve city facilities. Matt, do you have any final comment?
They left me some time, so why not? I also wanted to thank Mr. Huff, who last week reported to the Public Works Committee on the state of the stormwater system, and he said something very interesting near the beginning of his presentation, which was storms that we used to get here once a decade, we're getting several times a year now. Climate change is coming for us, y'all. And you raised our taxes. We really want you to use that money wisely. And a big way of doing that, change out your light bulbs, hire somebody to manage the energy use in the buildings of the city. You're going to hear more from us, obviously, but hope you have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayers. Denise Little.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Councilwoman Burke, and other council members. On May the 28th, the police, I'm 1801 Hattie Circle.
Would you put the mic down just a little bit, Ms. Little, so
We can't hear you.
There you go. Thank you.
How's that?
Good, thank you.
Okay. On May the 28th, the police department was in our neighborhood. They had gotten called to a break-in of a new home that was built but unoccupied on Bramblebrook, which is parallel to my street. They gave chase to two 13-year-old boys, and that chase came through my yard. The K-9 group attempted to jump the fence, but they jumped the wood fence that I have, but they didn't quite make it, so it started to fall. Officer Pace came chasing after them, and he just broke through it. So at the end of that, Officer Pace came to us, and he told my husband and I what had happened, and there was another officer there with him. And apparently he was on the K-9 team. And he said, why don't we charge that to K-9? He said, because I'm the one who finished the fence off. K-9 just got it started. I was grateful for them to recognize that the cost was theirs. So they said that they would turn that in and someone would be contacting us. No one ever contacted us. I called 311 on July 2nd and was directed to fill out a form. I completed that form. Zoe Olette, wonderful man. I wish I could talk to him every time I call for the city, but he helped me with that. He set up the claim, and unfortunately he had to call me back to tell me that because the police was in chase and not negligent, they would not fix my fence. I was encouraged to, after I followed the process, I was encouraged to come before you all to see if there was anything that I could do The police owned the damage. They owned the damage. They were willing to pay for that out of their budget, but I can't seem to get a part of that. So I'm asking for your help.
Thank you, Ms. Little.
Thank you.
Ms. Lanier, can you follow up with her, please? Ms. Lanier here is, she'll follow up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that ends the time we set aside for our public comment period. And John, I'm sorry, but we ran out of time.
Ninth on the list. What happened?
Beg pardon?
I was ninth on the list. What happened? You got skipped. You wouldn't buy me.
John, if you come on, come on, John. We got time for one more.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, nice to see you. In a recent West End Association public safety meeting with over 50 people in attendance, a city official pointed out that there were two trouble areas for the homeless downtown. One was 6th and Broad, where City with Dwellings is located, and the other one is Marshall Park. Not the legacy any of us wanted for Wanda. In looking for solutions, my dear friend George Bryan from the West End Association and I met with Director Chris Lieb of the Bethesda Center for the Homeless, looking for solutions. We found out that he has 100 beds, 70 for men and 30 for women. And we were shocked to find out that his day center has been closed since March. When open, that day center offers restrooms, laundry, showers, phones, air conditioning and heat, a mailing address, internet and computers, and counseling. And that's 7 days a week. That's not 2 or 3. We need to get that day center open. We need to do what we can to get that day center open. Secondly, I'm sure you read in the recent article in the paper about my friend Greg Carlisle, owner of the Millennium Center on 5th Street. The paper quotes Greg as saying that his customers from the hotels around 4th Street are told to avoid Trade Street between Marshall Park and 5th Street to get to his events. The valid reason for that is people using Trade have to run a gauntlet of people hanging out in that corridor, partly because of the transportation center, but mostly because of Guru Store. That bodega, which is owned by a local attorney, sells $1 can of beers in paper bags all day, every day. And they buy the beer and they walk down to Marshall Park and sit there all day, come back and rotate. And there's another group of people that just hang out in that corridor, and there's some drug trade there, there's drinking and carrying on. So it becomes a real gauntlet to try to walk down there. So I think we need a carrot and a stick approach. I'd love to see the Bethesda Day Center open. I think it's really important that we do that. And then I'd like to see inspections and police work on that corridor of Trade Street to make it safe and less intimidating. I'm willing to meet with anybody at any time to try to find solutions to this problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Mr. Manager, do you want to comment on the Day Center at Bethesda? Any update on that?
The day center at Bethesda did close down. We have had discussions with the Bethesda Center and Pastor Loeb about the possibility of opening that up. I do know that he is seeking funds at this point in time to be able to do that. It's my understanding that they're closed between 8 and 2 or somewhere in the early afternoon, and then their clientele can come in the evening before they go into the shelter at night. So there is discussions ongoing about trying to do that, and I know that that's being held with both other corporate individuals and other foundations, as well as with the city. All the city funds, federal funds that we have for homeless services or services of this type have been allocated out this year. And so there are no additional federal funds that we have to go towards this issue. But there is ongoing discussion.
There's on discussion about it. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to close the public comment period and recognize.
Yes. Mayor, thank you, members of the council and the public. Again, we're talking about it. All we do is talk. You know, all of us, just like was stated earlier, need to all get on the same page that, you know, this is just not a City of Winston-Salem issue. It's an issue of the whole country. And not once, and I'm not throwing no shade and nobody under the bus, but you never mention the county. The county and the state are in charge of health and human services. That is their lane. As the manager just said, whatever funding that the City of Winston-Salem gets from the Fed, the state, for the continuum of care, it was already allocated in our budget. We don't have any money. So if we all want to get on the page, like I said earlier, 2-3 years ago, you can't talk about housing without talking about homelessness first. And we, as a city, I know we meet in our little silos, because I just went to one this past week. But if we don't invite the people who are the customers or the victims or the clients or the stakeholders, the philanthropic people, the business people, the government people, we all got to get on the same page, y'all. And we can't be scared to be in the same room to talk about a problem or an issue that we know is there. But we need to stop talking, we need to come together, and we need to make solutions. 1 or 2, that's all we need to start with. And I bet you we can help get this, it will never be eliminated, but we can help make our situation better for our homeless population and others if we would just come together and establish 2 priority solutions. That's all I'm saying.
Councilmember Hall asked to be recognized before we adjourn.
Thank you, Mayor Joines. I do appreciate the comments tonight, and I want to make sure that I mention this. I wasn't able to get this in right after the honorarium, but I do want to give kudos publicly to Child Care Resource Center for what they do for this community by way of the Family, Friends, and Neighbor Network. We see you. We appreciate you all. I see Miss Ramona Brooks is still here. I know members of the team did have to go, but I hope that you will share those sentiments with them. Appreciate all that you all do with the grandparent support groups that you do, and just really want to uplift that for community. I personally have parents that assist me with my children, so I'm very much someone that takes advantage of that network, and so I just wanted to make sure that I do that. So please tell your fellow staff members thank you. Also, Mayor Joines, quick moment of personal privilege and wanting to shout out Mr. David Ritchie Brooks, who is in the audience, someone who's very familiar with these chambers. So good to see him, who's dedicated so many years to this city over the community development department, the former name of Neighborhood Services. And so, hello, Mr. Brooks, good to see you and glad to have you back in the chambers. Thank you, Mayor Joines.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Clark, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. We're adjourned.